Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Sonic Movie Show. My name is Ethan, and with me here, as always, in red himself, is Devin.
Vengeance.
That's right. We watched the trailer for Knuckles.
Not a Batman quote.
Yes. Did you know the TV show is not called Knuckles the Kid? It's just called Knuckles. I guess that was always the case.
I mean, this YouTube
It's
one
just
I'm
called
watching
Knuckles.
is on Paramount Plus. Says Knuckles series official trailer. Paramount Plus.
IMDb and the Wikipedia just say Knuckles, so I'm assuming it's just called Knuckles. Interesting, because, I feel like the third movie being called Sonic the Hedgehog 3, we should by now just drop it to Sonic 3. But, fine, whatever. Makes the logo a little bit fancier, makes the poster look a little bit more. Knuckles is a 6-episode event.
I love how event, like, everyone's gonna stop what they're doing. No, okay, this is Sonic fans, don't take offense, but the way they label it as event makes it seem like
It's
the world
lesser.
will stop and we
well,
will watch this. Like that.
I guess. I see it
'Cause
almost
the
as
commercial
like,
is
this less
supposed
than a
to-
TV show.
Yeah, to me, it's like event is like what, like even people who don't like sports watch Super
Toyotathon.
Bowl, right? Or like or Toyotathon.
That's an event.
It's
That's
an event. That is an event. To me, like an event means like I don't know. It's just like there's some stoppage in like national conversation.
Well,
happening.
ideally,
You know
that's what
I
they
mean? Like,
want. Obviously, I know that's what you're
right,
saying. But,
right. But come on.
for us, it's a stoppage. Thankfully, all 26 episodes, not all 26 episodes, all 6 episodes are airing
That is like
on Paramount Plus
season 1
on
of an
April
anime.
26th. Oh, yeah. Did I ever tell you I gave My Hero Academia a season and a half's chance to win me over? And a season and a half in, I'm like, I hate this. This kid cries all the time, and we're already doing a tournament arc like halfway through the second season. These guys suck. Anyway, I'm going to tell you why they call it an event, and I'm okay with this. Like calling it a series, like a lot of the Marvel show, Disney Plus shit, whatever it does, whatever. You can like it, it's fine. I don't want to call it shit. I'm not interested in it as much. And I understand Knuckles easily falls into that category, but whatever. Each their own. Calling them series, but knowing full well they're not actually making another season. You know what I mean? But you don't want to call it a TV show if it's streaming only, because it's not a TV show, right? It's a streaming show.
It's an event.
Yeah, an event. And now here's where I think the origin comes from. One of my favorite TV shows was called 24. Starring Kiefer Sutherland as Jack Bauer. He's got 24 episodes, and each episode is 1 hour long. Commercials, they actually skip ahead. 24 hours in real life to stop a bomb, save the president, blah, blah, blah. Each season is literally 1 day's worth, etc. TV shows eventually end. I never finished the show. I watched the first couple seasons, but eventually it ends, whether it was just canceled or whatever. And then years later, it comes back as a limited event series, which is what Fox referred to as, every now and then we might make this show again, but it's not going to be a recurring thing. It's a limited event series. And it was called 24 Die Another Day, Live Another Day. It was all right. I think he's just really old now at this point. He can't do the shit, but
I don't know. For me, like the word event, for me the word event, there's like a certain like cultural like impact when I hear that word. Like it's like Coachella is an event. Like, you know what I mean? Like California, that area of California shuts down for a week. You know what I mean? And like in Burning Man, Pokemon Go, when that was an event. All right?
I would consider that a phenomena.
Yeah, that's next level, I guess. It goes
spirit possessed all of us to run out in traffic to catch Stratinis. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's phenomenon, event, and then I don't know what would be underneath it.
And then other words.
Other words.
Yeah. No, I get you. Calling it event seems a little cheesy, but at the same time, let's not kid ourselves. Like, unless this saves Paramount Plus and is a shocking, like, oh my god, 400% increase on user signups that I've stayed for a month, then maybe we'll.
Here's
but
a better
anything,
comparison.
It's just we'll do more Sonic shows, not Knuckles specifically.
I mean, there's rumors there might be a Shadow show still, but it hasn't been totally confirmed yet. Maybe we'll know more after the movie comes out.
Probably.
But I guess a better comparison, what could call themselves an event, is the Last of Us TV show, because more the average person knew what that was now, or at least knew someone else who's watched it. You know what I mean? I don't know if Knuckles is gonna hit like that. It's funny because it's like, obviously it's targeted for family and kids and whatnot.
And
so
this
like
trailer definitely showed that.
Yeah, which is cool. Like, I'm sure there's younger folks than us who are excited, and I'm excited, to be fair. But you know what I mean? Like, calling it an event, I guess maybe is more targeting the kids. Hey, it's an event for the kids, okay? It's the teens.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
They're gonna get high and watch this. It's gonna be an event, okay?
Yeah, and I'm glad. Hey, we just talked about Paramount Plus. I'm glad it's all on episodes on one day, so your free trial gets you in and out the door.
I thought for sure it was gonna be one episode a week. I didn't really know how Paramount, because I thought that's what Halo was. Because I know Halo just started or is starting, so or season 2 or whatever. I didn't watch season 1.
All I know is that man refuses to wear the helmet, so like Master Chief now has a face. I don't think he ever took his helmet off in those games.
He did later. I actually read this article from someone from, I don't know what game magazine it was. It might have been Kotaku, but I don't think so. But it was from a person who's trans and was describing how like Master Chief was like so important to them because like they never showed you who was in the suit, right? It could be you're supposed to be in the suit. That's kind of like how they show it in the first couple
like
games.
Link
but I think
all
I think it was Halo, one of the later Halos, like the 4th or 5th one. Where they finally he takes off his helmet and he's just another white guy, and it's just like, come on, funny. Like at least you know what I mean. Like leave it to you being Master Chief. You know,
Halo 1. If you no clip, there's a point I think at the end of that game he does take the helmet off, but it's like off camera, it's cropped, whatever. If you no clip and you fly the camera around, under his helmet is a smaller version of the helmet. Just pretty funny.
No, I just like that like Master Chief is supposed to be like almost just whoever it is. You could be whatever gender or whatever you want to be. You're Master Chief, and that's cool. Also, but then it's like in this movie, this show that like because I saw like the conversation around it. Like I said, I didn't watch it. I don't really care that much. To me, I think of Master Chief as the dude in the helmet rather than the dude without the helmet. You know what I mean? He isn't the dude from Gears of War or something like that. You know what I mean? He isn't Kratos, where he's recognized by his face.
Yeah, I mean that's
he's recognized by his helmet.
Master Chief's armor is iconic.
So like I saw the whole dialogue about it where he was. The actor, was like defending, and I get he's defending his work. I get it, but
he
like
wants to be seen on camera, and I understand that. But hey, this is what you signed up for Halo. I'm sorry.
I think it's more on the writers and the directors to be like, hey, he actually like doesn't take his helmet off, rarely ever.
Yeah.
And I feel like from what I've heard, it's quite often that he's taking his.
He's
helmet
also
off.
like 9 feet tall. All the Spartans are huge. They're like genetically bred or whatever. Like
they're like I didn't realize they're more cyborgs almost. Like the suit is like in like part of their body.
The opening to Halo 1 has them wake him up, and like they do like the whole calibration check, look around, and like they're below you. It's wild. But anyway, that's also on Paramount Plus.
Master Chief. Hey, you never know. They could do a crossover. Both Paramount, Knuckles, and Master Chief save the world.
There's also, I will certainly actually one day get a Paramount Plus subscription when like all the Avatar: The Last Airbender shows and movies that they're making. I understand the Netflix show is a thing. The creators of Avatar left that project years ago. That's why they have the free reign to like, destroy their characters. But I guess so. Whatever. Like I'm hoping Paramount Plus takes Knuckles and survives long enough to be like, hey, we should make a Shadow show. We should make Tails mechanic.
Well, I think there will be a Shadow show if this show does well enough, and then of course if Sonic Movie 3 gets a certain number in the box office that they have internally, that's when there's going to be a Shadow show. That to me, that it's just, if this tanks, even if it's good, even if like the quality's good, if it doesn't get the viewership, I know we've talked about this so many times on this show, where it's, Netflix and all these streaming services have some number, and some of them I think are totally unrealistic and fair, because there's been a lot of good shows that get canceled all the time. Just halfway through a season, it's like, okay, why do I watch this? At least with this, I think that like you said, like this is probably going to be it. If people like it enough, maybe they'll make more. I think I Am Groot was a similar situation, where we'll see how much they get. But this,
and that was cheap for them to make. I imagine much cheaper than Knuckles. But
I mean, we can break down the trailer more, because we're talking about a little bit now about like budgets and whatnot. I'm actually kind of surprised at the quality.
Overall thought of it.
Yeah, I think first thing is like the visual quality is pretty good. I thought there was gonna be less humans in this. I thought it was gonna be closer to an I Am Groot. If you don't know what I Am Groot is, it was the Disney Plus, kind of not. It wasn't tied to the MCU, but all the characters are from the Guardians of the Galaxy, are hinted at in it and whatnot. But it's just Groot himself interacting with people we haven't met before, or it's like they're like 3-minute shorts. I didn't think it was going to be a 3-minute short, but I thought this was going to be a no more than 8 episode thing. Granted, it's 6. That was going to be an 8 episode thing, and they were going to be, 10 minutes, and be kind of little spoofs and whatnot, where Knuckles goes to the bar, Knuckles goes to Vegas, Knuckles goes to strip club. Just kidding, obviously.
He would, though, out of the 3 of them.
But, something like that. And to watching the trailer, there's a lot more scenes than I thought there was going to be. There's a lot more humans than I thought it was going to be, which I'm kind of actually hyped for. I think that will help my interest. Like I said, I was worried it was going to be an I Am Groot situation where we're watching it because we gotta, and it's just fine, or we're not the target audience fully for it. We know with the Sonic movies, that they are first marketed towards kids and for kids, but it's for the family as well. You have Jim Carrey. We've talked about that. Jim Carrey is a lot of like our generation's a little bit older, is like comedian. We know what he is. He's funny. But yeah, watching this, just like there's pretty big set pieces. They brought the house back from the first 2 Sonic movies. They have Ozzy the dog in it. We have Tika Sumpter's character in it too. Like, we have Tails. They show Tails briefly. They show Sonic. I don't know how much they'll be in it, but they got Ben Schwartz back. He drives a motorcycle.
Yeah.
It still looks like it's going to be small scale, so that's not surprising.
It's a
but still, there's a lot more
event, so interesting actors that are in it.
I want to say one actor I'm really hyped for. Rory McCann there, who's the henchman or former henchman of Dr. Robotnik.
His
who also
character's name is The Buyer, according to the Wikipedia. Yeah.
But he is the Hound in Game of Thrones, and he's one of my favorite characters in that series. So once I saw him, like, oh shit, I haven't seen you in something in a minute.
He's been in a few other things as well. I had my lists open, but I had to close as many windows as possible to get this recording to work. But yeah, he's in it. Kid Cudi's in it. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, he's
one of the 2 henchmen with the armored
in the bowling alley. The bowling alley scene looks kind of cool. I like the color palette, like with the lights
reflective
and like
surfaces and lights for sure.
And with Knuckles being red and he has like red arms. But yeah, I guess I could say who the guest cast is, at least what is confirmed. Rory McCann is the Buyer. This is from Wikipedia, folks. A former lackey of Dr. Robotnik, headstrong on obtaining Knuckles' power. Tika Sumpter as Maddie Wachowski, Knuckles' adoptive mother and local veterinarian of Green Hills. Ben Schwartz as Sonic the Hedgehog, an anthropomorphic blue hedgehog who can run at supersonic speeds. In case you forgot who he is. Colleen O. I always feel like I mispronounce her last name.
I think
Shazani as Miles Tails Prower, anthropomorphic amber fox who can fly with his twin tails. Then Christopher Lloyd as, I don't know if they did they show this in the trailer, or is this
they
just
showed him very briefly.
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd as Pekka Kamek, the echidna, an older echidna who is believed to have perished along with his tribe when they tried to capture Longclaw, Sonic's previous adopted mother.
So this is an interesting character. This character is from the video games, and you've seen this character, but it's slipped your mind. He's existed in one video game before, technically 2. Um, Sonic Adventure, in the
I was gonna say.
flashback stuff when they're showing like the echidnas and the master and they're burning all the chows and whatever
Oh,
nonsense.
okay.
He is like the tribe leader who's like, no, we will get them. And Tikal, who's the girl echidna's like, we can't, we gotta stop. That's him. So to see him in the brief moment, like it was in the bowling alley. Like look like he's partying. It's a changed up character, but here's the other thing too. Um, we've mentioned this back when we were talking about Sonic Movie 2 way back in the day, probably before it came out, when they were showing a bit of Knuckles and like our thoughts on like his history and will there be other echidnas and whatnot. You and I are big Sonic movie fans, obviously. You're a decent Sonic game fan, and I'm a huge Sonic game fan. But we don't touch the comics.
I've always said this. I'm a Sonic brand fan.
Sonic brand fan. That's why you have all the King Ice things hanging on little chains on your wall, out of view on the camera, because neither of us have like read the comics, and like if you like the comics, that's great. That's great. It's not necessarily my thing. Maybe one day I will dive into them out of curiosity, but it's not what I come to Sonic for. I come for the gameplay and like everything around that makes me like that. You know what I mean? So Knuckles has been in the comics many times, the Archie comics. Lots of different writers have been on this long series. It's covered many different like parts of Sonic, history, and it's gone, just like any comic book superhero thing, like they do, events and spurts and starts. There is a writer, his name I believe is Kenneth Penders or something like that, and we are used to, and this is what's tricky about this. We are used to, for the most part, when we talk about the major media we consume through a capitalist, lens of like the corporation owns the art and the artist gets paid to make it, but it's owned by,
Right.
However it worked out, this Kenneth guy owns pretty much any character he's created for these comics, which includes a shit ton of echidnas. So anytime Sega ever makes any new echidna character in anything, this man sues them and claims it's actually copying one of his characters. And he goes, from what fans say online, way too far. And basically, if Sega even ever decides to give Knuckles a father, he will jump down them with some lawyers. He's always lost, to my knowledge. He's always lost. But there was a DS RPG called Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood, made by BioWare of all people. The PC RPG, Western PC RPG masters of like the Baldur's Gate 2 into KOTOR into Mass Effect, kings of their time, made a Sonic RPG for the DS, and it had some echidna characters in it, and the rumor is there isn't a sequel because it did kind of fall into this legal gray area where they might have maybe copied one of this dude's characters, so they couldn't make a sequel.
So it's not even worth the time for them to make, or
so to see this character be like, yes, this is like one of the other two video game echidnas that existed before, I guess maybe before these comic book runs or whatever, is like, okay, but we don't really want him to be like the I seek the power of the emeralds type of dude. We want a fun, goofy grandpa, uncle echidna maybe, and so
Crazy
that's
Kong.
who he is. So that's a long
Cranky
rant,
Kong.
but now the audience knows what I'm going at here. That like I think I went at Christopher Lloyd, just that casting alone, it's like, yeah, that dude. He's also voiced a lot of things. He's been the bad guy in Kingdom Hearts. After Leonard Nimoy died, he replaced him. He's done a lot of like cool, fun voice gigs where it's like, good on you. You could rest on your royalties, but no, you're having fun.
There's another. It says additional cast with undisclosed roles are Paul Scheer and Rob Hubel. Also, I want to note, at least right now, no Tom Wachowski, no James Marsden, which I guess probably is I'm okay with, because I'm sure there's going to be like he's off to, I don't know, the Atlanta police
Atlanta
camp.
Wow. Oh, sure.
No, I'm making a joke about the Atlanta
Cop City.
Cop City in Atlanta. Yeah, he's going to Cop City
there. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at some point, Sonic and Tails have to bounce, so maybe he's already there setting up camp, and they're coming in to get their tactical gear and go.
God, you know how mad I would actually be
if they
did some
you
like
brought up one time that like that Reddit post that was like, hey, if you really examine it, the Sonic movie is kind of like a conservative movie. Like, small town values. He goes to the big liberal city. He decides home is where the heart is, and he comes back home. You know what I mean? The tech bro, Silicon Valley
right.
dude's the villain, and et cetera, found family,
Silicon Valley.
whatever. That would make that wouldn't feel like too much of a pivot to be like, yeah, and I hate non-white people as he cocks his shotgun.
I mean, they would have to do like a in episode like musical like number of try that in a small town, that one song. I like it's Knuckles and just all the local Green Hills police like dancing. They're like, yeah. Anyways, I'm not surprised by it. It also could be a scheduling conflict. They're like, it's okay. We can.
Yeah.
And I want some more Maddie Wachowski. I hope she's in it. I think she's always been good in all the
discography, filmography. She's been in a shit ton of TV shows and movies, but like as soon as Sonic hit, that's all she's really done since, because it's probably paid a lot, especially that second movie, to be like, I do want to be back in this. So yeah, good on her. Good. So what do we think? It seems like
good casting. So kind of talk to, I guess, just general thoughts. Do we want to kind of maybe pick apart, not the trailer scene by scene or anything, but like based off what we've seen in this trailer, like what is this story gonna be? Like obviously I think we have the plot of, X, it says lackey of Dr. Robotnik. I'm sure they'll retcon that in some way to fit that in of why he was never mentioned or anything. Maybe it's like early on Robotnik's career, something like that. Like he was the smart one. He got all the awards, kind of thing. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I would do, I guess.
He reminds me of the Iron Man 2 villain played by Mickey Rourke.
Yeah, it might be the same character.
Especially I just realized because he gets in a mech that has whips. That's just what he did in that movie.
It's Iron Man. It's all the same universe, dude.
I mean, hey, they want to be Marvel. I will say this. Remember the old synopsis, which I said, oh, man, I hope it's not that, because that would be lame, of Knuckles training Wade. It's 100% it. They are the two main cast members, is Idris Elba and the guy who plays Wade. So, cool, I guess. I just remember, like, Sonic Movie 2 gave so little Wade, and it wasn't really any funny. It wasn't really any good to me. Is my opinion. I liked him in that first movie, which we may be watching again soon.
Wade Whipple, by the way. Adam Pauly is the actor. Who I believe, if we remember correctly, we looked it up. He's been in like friends with Fowler for
and Ben Schwartz
since college
too,
or something.
I think, right?
Yeah, something like that. One of those two. Like they've known each other for a while.
Sure.
But and Idris Elba's obviously back. I forgot to mention that. Obviously,
how funny would it be if they actually just got a sound alike for him. It's like, all right,
that'd be disappointing.
You're gonna be Idris Elba. It's like, all right, man. Am I doing his American accent? Am I doing his real, British accent? No, we want you to do the thing that he does, where it's kind of both, and it leans back left and right. He sometimes loses his accent. We need you to do that as well. Idris is in there. Save. This was definitely a trailer that cut lines together to form new lines. There's a moment where Knuckles says, "Come on, Wade," and they clearly sound like they are from two different sentences. But whatever.
Sonic said something like when he jumps on the beanbag and says something to Shadow, and it doesn't match up. But whatever. I don't.
To Knuckles.
To me, we know why they do that. It's just get the trailer and
it's probably for the best. I get it, but it's just, I would say, I shouldn't be shocked at how overall, I don't want to say Disney Channel cheese, but goofiness that the movie or that this event series, no, just event,
Event,
6 episode event. It's just an
event, and then will be phenomenon.
And we gotta hope, we gotta hope so. It's an event now. It'll be a phenomenon if we get there. You know what I mean? Yeah, it is a little bit goofier than I feel like the movies was, but this is where you can experiment with that because this could be easily thrown away if it turns out to be not a hit. They can be like Sonic movie 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. You know what I mean? They could just keep on going that way. I think that you asked me like, what do we think like the plot is? Or you asked?
Well, I think the plot is going to be
him
obviously
trading
this,
Wade, and then that guy comes back and sends those goons after his power, right?
yeah, something like that. Sorry, I just blanked out what I was going to say. No, yeah, it's obviously. I mean, the main plot point I think is going to be the buyer versus Knuckles, and they're going to have their bouts or whatever. To me, it's like, what do we think? Like I guess, linear story is going to be like. I mean, they've only said one episode title on Wikipedia so far, and that is The Warrior, which I'm assuming that's going to be maybe like a backstory episode. Like, I could see it being like Knuckles telling Wade like kind of where he comes from, because they show like scenes of like them working out together, or like, so maybe there's like immediately we're thrown into like, hey, these two have to travel, kind of like how Sonic and
it's flashing back and forth.
Yeah, like maybe while they're driving, he's like, and then in 1954, I fought in Vietnam.
Whoa,
Korea.
It's just like that movie Napoleon.
Yeah. So I could see it maybe that being the first episode. Obviously after that we don't really have. We could just be spitballing here, but for me, I think it's going to be
structure.
I think a buddy cop, kind of just like the first movie. I can see there being like a Sonic joke being like, oh, just that's how like me and Donut Lord got to know each other. Like they have to do this road trip together somewhere. They
clearly go to Vegas or somewhere that has some. Well, maybe not Vegas, but like they go somewhere. That's not Green Hills with the giant glowing ball thing outside on some sort of tower. That seems Vegas-y. Sure, there could be a bowling alley in Green Hills.
I've been to Vegas a couple times. Let me see if I can pinpoint that. But yeah, I think because like even like in the trailer here, they break into his house. Yeah, they grab his power perhaps or whatever.
They got a couple quills of his quills that's powering their stuff.
Yeah, maybe he kind of gets kicked out of the house too. To be fair, because they're like, why are you building a gladiator room in our living room? By the way, I like some of my favorite like things in comedy movies or like these kind of movies is like where they're not saying a joke, they're just letting your mind kind of like make the joke for yourself, where it's like, this house has been destroyed now 3 times. Like, I want to know what the home insurance policy is on this thing. Like, they probably can't sell it anymore because they're probably locked in now. Like, they've destroyed walls, and I think at one point it not blows up, but just like it's gone through the ringer. But yeah, I think this is going to be I mean, they're showing the agents too, so it makes me think that there is a bigger.
I think I know the structure
system.
I think here's the structure. Episode 1, The Warrior, is exactly what you said. It's a training montage when we get maybe some flashbacks on Knuckles, telling him stories, some sort of story or like theme that Knuckles as a character, something that happens
does
to
look
him.
Like Vegas.
Could be very, very basic story of like, it's okay to relax a little or whatever. I don't know. Something, right? Doing that stuff. The second episode will be like the kind of result of that, which then kind of ends in some sort of buyer tease. And then like he's making the things and like those 2 henchmen, which by the way, is totally a Jesse and James Team Rocket situation. More kids things need to have their own Jesse and James, in my opinion, from Pokemon. If you didn't know out there, guys, that's gonna be that. And then like I swear, 2 more episodes will be just them, getting in the way in maybe a couple different instances, and then the last 2 will be like the buyer focus. Because remember, Like, the buyer is a guest character. He is not in all of them. I think the same thing for Kid Cudi and the lady who plays the other agent. Like, those two agents, they are guest characters. So they are not in every single one of them. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if the buyer really is only in the last one and, like, in some scenes in one or maybe two others. I don't see
I
him
feel like
being
he's
in
the
too
overarching
much.
villain in this. I feel like he might have like 5 minute chunks in throughout these episodes to kind of, maybe he's not introduced to the end of the first episode where like the henchmen come back and be like, we got the power or whatever, and then maybe the other episodes. I really do think it's going to be following that Sonic kind of thing where they're going to be driving to, I think it's Las Vegas, by the way. Definitely see it like that. Um, and that's not totally unrealistic. I mean, it's still further than going from Montana to LA or to San Francisco. I think it's a little bit farther down. But yeah, I mean, he has the quills. He shows the quills. He's putting them in the gun and into the robots. I wonder, I guess my thing is, this is obviously post Sonic movie 2. I wonder if he's like the next in command in like whatever organization that Robotnik has. Because
I was
obviously
under
we
the
have
impression that Robotnik was solo. Or are you talking like in the government?
in the government, maybe like his role kind of, because Agent Stone isn't here either. But then they're also Kid Cudi and the other character, the Jesse and James, are wearing suits just like Agent Stone does. So
I
it makes
see
me
them
think
as
that
they were definitely, because they also say like, "Oh, you used to work for Robotnik." I think you're right. I think they worked for the government, but like, I think this guy is a scorned. He's gone his own way. Robotnik. He was always too self-centered, and he could only see his own genius. And anyone that wasn't, he pushed me out. It's gonna be that. I think it's gonna be that type of thing. And he's been in a cave with a box of scraps or whatever. Going solo, and now it's his chance to prove that he was always better than Robotnik, maybe. And like, yeah, somehow he must convince these two agents to join. I do like the idea. Okay, I'm just throwing this out there of any quote unquote agent being on the humorous, these guys are actually dumb level that Agent Stone, in his brilliance is, like, I don't want like a Mr. Smith level of like, guy in a black suit, a G-man that's coming, you know what I mean? Like, we have the Olive Garden guy, we have the husband in the wedding, you know what I mean?
maybe they're
all
sent by the
goofballs.
government to track down any like remnants of, because Robotnik's, I think, missing. I think they couldn't find him. Remember they mentioned that at the end of Sonic movie 2. Maybe that's what they're doing, is they stumble across this guy trying to be like, where'd Robotnik go? And then they eventually are like, like you said, kind of like dumb, and they kind of get persuaded to work for.
Maybe it's something where it's like,
maybe he
they
says,
realize,
"Oh,
hey, there are bigger fish we can catch if we work with him." You know what I mean? Maybe.
Or maybe he says, "Oh, I know where Robotnik went, but you have to help me first," or something like that. And then they're just that simple, like, of people to be like, "Oh, I guess we're doing that. We have to help him. Then we won't be able to find where Robotnik went."
Yeah. Question.
So there's a lot. I think there's a couple different avenues they could go with it, but I think we're probably close to somewhere correct on this.
And it's at this point where, like, knowing that this event of 6 episodes, is probably, I don't see these as being entire hour episodes. I would love that, but like, I don't see that.
Maybe
being the
no
case.
Longer than 45 minutes.
Yeah,
I could see it more like 25.
Who knows?
Probably
right?
25 minutes, like Hulu length.
I wonder if this is Googleable. I wonder if we can just find this out. Give it a Google while I say this next part. I don't really think I want to know too much more, just because we will probably get some sort of TV spot when it gets closer to the end of April. I'm sure for it. TV spot for a streaming show. Do those even happen? I guess when it's like,
well,
ABC...
it says I did find this one article from BGR. That says that if the trailer wasn't enough, Paramount will also be debuting a Knuckles spot on TV during the Super Bowl, which is probably just going to be a cut down version of this.
Yeah.
So be sure to tune in to the big game. Following Knuckles, Paramount plans to release Sonic 3 December 20th, 2024.
Here's
So
my
yeah,
question.
like, go ahead.
Do you think that at the end of this show, there's a teaser for anything in Sonic 3?
Oh, I mean, there's got to be. I mean,
Like
there's gonna
anything
be
substantial, or do you think it'll be less than a shadow tease?
here.
Do you think we get Shadow's voice? Like
well, I was gonna say, you know what
speaks?
level of I guess connection will be. Maybe it'll be like a Thor Ragnarok situation where it like ends right before Avengers
beginning.
Infinity War connects, right, where Thanos just appears there and kills everybody, basically. Not saying that level of death, but like maybe the last episode is he finds a trail based off this guy. He defeats the buyer and he learns that there's a secret hideout that Robotnik had, and maybe the two agents that are with him realize they're stupid and they're like, oh, Knuckles, you were right, he was bad, we need to find Robotnik. Oh, well,
Do you
I think
they're going to be in the movie?
No, but I think if there is, it's going to be short. But maybe like Knuckles is like, I have a lead, I'll go find him, and then it's him finding the underground base. Maybe he's the one that wakes up Shadow on accident to start off the third movie or something. That's just like, I guess, like as big of a connection I can see is maybe he like opens the vault or whatever, the Fallout vault that he's in. That's what I keep envisioning, is that Shadow is in some like Cold War like laboratory in a bunker somewhere that everyone forgot about.
That finds him, just like in the game. But
yeah,
it could also.
But if not that, then it's just gonna be. Yeah, maybe it's like meanwhile.
It's just an out of context type of teaser, you know.
Or he gets a text message from the buyer. Robotnik gets the text message or something, or he laughs about it, and then he like types some stuff up on the computer, and then you see Shadow like in the distance or something. I don't know.
I definitely don't think Jim Carrey will be any tease, because I don't think.
Yeah, you never know. I mean,
I think like that they finished filming before they got a confirmation.
They can pull from the. They can pull from that though.
From the third movie,
like
even
while they're filming it now and editing it now, I'm sure they got to be close to post production. They could be like, "Hey Jim, we're finishing up the Knuckles show. We need a 30-second thing for the beginning of." To hint at this movie. Can you do that? Yeah, sure. You know what I mean? Like, I could see them just sliding it in. It doesn't have to be part of the shoot of Knuckles. I mean, Jeff Fowler is involved with this. So this isn't like a separate team making this. Like, this is, I think, an add-on. So for me, like,
definitely have we've talked about this guy before. Like, the Sonic movie is like the biggest thing he's ever remotely done. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, he should have his creative grip his fist over this entire property. I don't want to see anyone else wrestle any control away from him, unless he ends up doing a bad job one of these days. And but I don't think.
And even then, I probably would still give him a pass, because he's made 2 good movies, and not even Steven Spielberg has made bad movies. So it's like, no, I think that to me is what I guess is a combination of what I think, but maybe also hope for, is that either it's like a Thor Ragnarok, Avengers Infinity War level of intersection, or it's a little like a call, or like a cut to like at the end of the credits or something in the show, Robotnik, either his voice or he's shown waking up Shadow or something, and like then you're like, oh, that's what the movie's gonna start. Because I still believe Sonic movie 3 is gonna start with Shadow waking up. I think they got it. Like
that'll be your like 5-minute thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I'm dumb. Sonic movie 2 opened with Eggman getting out, right? Yeah, same thing, but it'll be the Shadow. You know, we don't need to introduce Sonic right away. Is the point?
Right. You know where he's at this point. So
yeah. Oh, this was fun. Any final thoughts that you can think of about this Knuckles thing?
Actually, I want to say, I mean, it sounds like I was like not looking forward to this, but like I'm like pleasantly surprised at like how. I guess the production it's still gonna be small scale, maybe smaller than the movie, but it isn't what I thought I was worried it was gonna be, which is like an I Am Groot, very very small scale, 5-minute things, or it was gonna be the day in the adventure of Knuckles and friends doing goofy things around Green Hills, where it's directed for kids. I'm glad that this is sticking with like how the movies are constructed.
Yeah,
because I wouldn't have necessarily blamed them if they didn't. You know what I mean? At the same time, so like.
I agree.
I'm happy with what I saw, and yeah, my expectations aren't necessarily like super high or like, oh, this better be great. It's more of just like, cool, we're getting bonus stuff for us to, one, cover on this show, and two, to like maybe give us some background into Knuckles more that we didn't get in the movie, and that hopefully is rewarded when we watch the third movie if it's, brought up that we're like, oh, they're talking about this episode. So that's how I look at it.
My final thoughts is when I looked at that casting list and I saw that the guy, I forget his name because the casting list is out of my field of view, but the guy who played Wesley, aka the dead pirate Roger Roberts, in one of my favorite movies, The Princess Bride, is in this movie or in this show or in this event. Soon
to be phenomenon.
I think he's one of the bowling people, like the whatever competition. I think he's one of those.
There's a couple little goofy things that I forgot to mention too. Is like bits. It seems like they have the Ocho in there, which is from Dodgeball. ESPN the Ocho is the like fake ESPN channel in Dodgeball, because there was a joke that like ESPN has too many channels. I do know that they
Ocho being 8. Okay.
Yeah, that's like where they aired the Dodgeball, like in that movie Dodgeball, like that match
that
was like
funny.
They had Chuck Norris as that. So I'm assuming Paramount must own them, or maybe Dodgeball was Paramount, so they probably can get away with it.
Or they could. I mean,
yeah, but really someone correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I know ESPN is rebranded as spoofs, like during when the anniversary of Dodgeball, and like rebrand their channel to be ESPN 8 the Ocho, and they'll do like hacky sack, like competitive hacky sack, or show that, or like other bocce or like goofy stuff like that.
Well, that's what ESPN 2 is a lot of like activity competitions, not necessarily sports competition.
But they would, I remember like I've seen it before where ESPN's kind of like did like a fun like rebrand of it, like just for one day to be like, yep, we're showing badminton or whatever, like. So
badminton's fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of little things here that I'm sure we're missing. But I'm kind of with you where it's like, don't show me anymore. Let's let this thing come out and we can talk about it when it comes out.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, you heard it here first and you heard it here last, folks. Let's fast forward to April 26th. We'll see you there. As just a message before you go, this is a YouTube video, so if you're not watching us on YouTube and you're listening to us on Apple Music or Spotify or whatnot, Audible and the like, head on over to the YouTube, hit the like and the subscribe, and comment down below something. I don't care what. Just say something. Say something, please.
And recommend it to all your Sonic friends, every single one, including your mom. We know she loves Sonic.
Someone that made fun of your OC. Send us our way. Send us their way. You can follow the show in the meantime while you wait for April 26th on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Blue Sky. I don't know. Hey, you don't need an invite code anymore. We can make one. We don't need an invite code. But at Sonic Movie Show, I am on Twitter at Ethan Absolutely, and Devin is on Twitter at Cursonafun. And
so you said April, when does it come out? April
26th. It's a Friday.
How many days? Let's see. How many days till April 26th? Let's see. I said 86. Jesus. April 26th. It is 77 days, folks. You can watch our backlog. You can watch half of our backlog. Watch one episode a day. Starting now, after you listen to it, just click on the next one. There should be a little end screen soon that says previous or next, depending on when you watch this. You have 77 days. Probably less by the time this episode goes up, but you can watch half our episodes.
And you know what? If you want to do one better, you watch the episode in the morning, you listen to the same episode at night on Spotify or Audible or wherever. Just
watch the shorts, the little clip thingies that are at most 60 seconds. Get little funny things in there sometimes. Some of them are informative, but
absolutely.
Check those out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, everyone. And as I always say at the end of every single one of these episodes...
He says it.
Knuckle out.
Knuckle.